Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Chapman. Today, guys, I have got the incredible Steve Beckett coming on from Defiant Co, Defiant Printing, Defiant Series, Defiant Podcast, Defiant Show, Mr. Defiant himself. But before he comes on, I'm just going to run through my guests over the next few weeks. So on Tuesday coming up, I have Gym Sync. Now, Gym Sync are this amazing company, UK based, that Steve himself actually has had on a couple of weeks ago on his show. And I saw that and I thought, that looks amazing. What a concept it is. Effectively, it is. Oh, actually, hold the phone. Here it is. All right, Steve.
Hey mate, is my audio okay? Because I've been
Yeah, you're good. How about mine?
Yeah, you're good, mate.
Yeah, excellent. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't complain at all, mate.
Yeah,
Been
excellent.
busy. Turned 42. A lot's happened since I last spoke to you.
Yeah. Happy birthday. When was it? When was your birthday?
It was Friday, so
Oh,
pretty
nice.
close. Yeah.
Amazing. Do anything special? Anything memorable?
No, well, I was away. I was in New York for my sister's 40th. Like, we took her late. Her birthday was in February, but we took her and we only got back on Monday. So all my sort of, like indulgent things that you might do on your birthday have been satisfied in New York, mate. So I just had a quiet one. I had a microwave GSM meal and just sat alone and took stock at last year, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you know what? It sounds similar. Yeah, at my 40th, I just sat on a beach throwing stones at empty cans with my kids and had a barbecue. I was just like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah,
That'll
that's
do the
quality,
trick.
mate. Well, that's what matters, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So when you go away, so I've briefly introduced you a minute ago. So Defiant Co, Defiant Printing, Defiant Show. Am I missing one? I'm sure there's four arms to your
Defiant Games.
Defiant Games. I knew there was one. So when you go away, how long are you away for? Monday to Friday, did you say?
Yeah, it was like 4 days. It was
4 days. So how in touch are you when you're away? Like obviously with your phones, everything's accessible, but how reachable are you when you're away? How in control are you of everything?
I'd say very, but by choice as opposed to by necessity. So I've got a business partner that more than capable of handling everything, and wanted to handle more than I would usually pass off, just because she wanted me to go and make sure I switched off. But the time difference was good for me because I mentioned to you yesterday, didn't I? I'm an early riser, so
Mm.
I was getting up early, doing what I considered to be the essentials of the job for an hour, going and finding a local gym, CrossFit gym, went to CrossFit Hell's Kitchen, training, and then my family naturally were only just getting up at that time, so it didn't eat into my day. And then when I was out, obviously on socials and stuff, if something popped onto my phone, I was able to do something. I did, but I didn't have to. So it was kind of cool because I got the work done, got my training done, and then could be engaged with my family, which was the point of going because it's been a while. We worked out, mate. It was actually for just the four of us on a trip because we've done them with other people. It's been 16 years since we'd all gone away as an actual just the four. So it was nice to be able to kind of actually just
Wow.
spend that time with him.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's so true. Like just the thought you have those moments, and unfortunately, the only time that I've been with my mum, dad, and my brother all alone is like funerals over the over the last 10 years. It's like that's the only time when we've been four of us. And I remember specifically there was a holiday when I was probably about 19 or 20, and I remember my mum and dad saying at the time, "This is probably going to be the last time that we go away together as a four. So try and
Yeah.
enjoy it." And I'm 19. I'm like, "Ah, shut up. That'll be around forever." Here we are, 21 years later, and it rings true. So yeah, it's nice to grab those special moments. Now, going like what you said about that's funny about getting everything done in the morning. As an affiliate owner, obviously, and as a affiliate remember. That old thing of the 6 a.m. crew or the 5:30 crew or whatever, they're getting in, they're getting it done, they're getting out. It's they get this label as being sort of the hardcore lot, and the double R, the Johnny Concrete's getting in early and wanting to, but that's bred out of necessity, isn't it? They're only going there at that time because they have to, and they're prioritizing the rest of their day as the main feature of their life, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's getting shit done in the morning. And it's funny, I've seen Jason Khalipa really hammer in that home over the last sort of month or so, or a couple of months now. But his philosophy and everything is sort of making more sense to me, because I think he's my age. I think he's like 39, 40 now. So we're about the same. And it's funny, these priorities sort of naturally just swing around as you get a bit older. You think, it's never going to be me. And then all of a sudden it happens and you're like, okay, I don't give a shit about like high level performance anymore. I just want to live longer and want to be around my family a bit longer. So yeah, it's
And you've
funny.
had your hour then as well, haven't you? Like whatever happens in my philosophy on it is as well, like I'm busy, like you mentioned, all those businesses and things like that. That's my time for me. So I get that. I go for a walk and then I train normally. That's my routine when I'm at home. And then don't matter what happens rest of the day. Like if the whole day goes to shit, I've had my bit of time and I can like sit, relax, knowing that, the world might be falling apart around me, but I've got what I needed to do done for me, and everything else now will just take care of itself almost.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So other than that, any major changes since we spoke last?
Not changes as such. We did the next episode of the affiliate series. We filmed that yesterday, so we're looking forward to the output of that. I think like I've probably learnt a little bit about the business and myself in the last probably month or so, which is like quite interesting because we did something different with the Defiant Co. When I mentioned on the last show, not going to the in-person events. And what I found was January and February online sales were really, really good. So we kind of just, not by, you're always just going to the next thing and the next thing. So not by intention, but maybe took our eye off the ball slightly with, everything's fine. Not doing events hasn't impacted. And then March started really slow. So it was like a sort of, oh shit, maybe there isn't as, maybe it isn't just taking care of itself. So that was kind of a good learning curve, really, because I've always done events, and this is the first time we've like made a conscious decision to not. So we had like a brainstorming session halfway through March, which was like, right, what can we do to make sure we're generating cash flow for the business, that we're constantly on top of things? And it was really good because I had a very small period of that time where I actually got a bit down on myself about it, because I was a bit like, shit, like this is everything I've poured myself into is kind of, and it wasn't like terrible. It was just not what I wanted it to be. And it was good in a couple of ways. Like I say, one for a sort of learning curve, don't take your eye off the ball. And also one for me that like allowed me to sort of take that time to like sort of, I don't know, be miserable about it and then like pull myself out of it and go, right, that's not going to solve anything. Let's keep pushing. Let's go. And since then it's been really good. Like, and it just shows that just a difference in mindset of like, and like I say, it was good for me personally because I'm never one to get down on myself. And it was almost the first time I had on the business, because I'm always so optimistic about it now. And I was like, God, I've been doing this for 5 years. And then one bad week can change your perception. I was like, right, sort yourself out, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And like, so like I say, it was good from a business point of view to have that, right, don't take your eye off the ball, because if you do for 1 minute in such a saturated market, you're going to lose out. But also for me personally to maybe feel something internally that I hadn't before and then deal with that. So it was, yeah, it's been good, really. You know what I mean? And that's when I said to you on my birthday, I saw my family throughout the day, and then in the evening spent the day on my own, the afternoon on my own, eating, I just had my food and chilled. And it was kind of self-reflective over the last year. And it was funny that one of the most self-reflective moments had happened really recently for me to sort of grow and learn from, really. So, yeah, it was good, mate.
Yeah, that's nice. It's sort of, it's similar to, in our industry, it's similar to obviously box owners, and we'll talk about one of those in a minute, a very good one. But people on their fitness journeys. You know, it's not always going to be linear. It's not going to be always, you know, sunshines and rainbows. It's you're going to have to keep on top of things consistently. And also, though, trial and error. You got to try things out. You have to expand your different ways of thinking about stuff and progressing. You have to do that. If you don't, you'll always have the same results that you've always had. So trying and not going to events was obviously a big deal for you as you had been doing it. But as well, it might be the case that it does work. It just needs time to settle and to shift over to another way of working. So, you know, we've all been there. If you're trying to lose a bit of body fat for the summer, or you're on a mass building cycle or something, one bad weigh-in on the scales or one bad in-body result, and it's what do I do? Change everything. It's like no, it's all good. It's all good. You know, steer the course, like stay calm. But sometimes you need time to reflect. Sometimes you need to make those. But you'd be a fool not to acknowledge that the slight bump in the road. But you know, like you've done, you don't have to take it too seriously. You know, reflect on it, evaluate, debrief, have a look. How can you move on and adapt? You know, that's part and the parcel of owning a business, I guess.
Yeah, and I like to talk about it as well, because it kind of allowing yourself to be vulnerable and accept that you weren't happy with how something went is like, I find that really good for me personally as well, because like, I don't know, a lot of period of my life prior to finding CrossFit, I guess, because that's what made me a better person, was about that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have wanted to like show weakness or maybe say that something I did didn't go well. And now everything's a learning opportunity, and that comes from being, I don't know, I really do tailor everything back, channel everything back to when I found that. But that's when my mindset changed of, I don't know, wanting to know more, be more, and all that. And I just wouldn't have, especially not on a podcast that could be watched by anyone, said that I felt in that way, because it is, you know, some people just would see that as a weakness. And I think strength comes from accepting weakness sometimes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And so long as you acknowledge it and then adapt with it, rather than acknowledging it and then do nothing about it. You know, one bad workout in the gym, debrief, what did I do wrong? How did I get it incorrect? What can I do next time? And learn from that and move on, which is always a big deal in our industry. And we preach it to people on the gym platform floor, but then do we accept that and apply it in our own world? Sometimes we can be hypocrites, trainers, but there we go.
Mate, speaking of InBody, before you go on as well, I've been tracking mine. So I did it before I went to New York. I was the lowest body fat I'd ever been. I was 8.4%. I was buzzing because I've been working really hard with it. And did it when I got back. I was 10.1%. I went and I very much enjoyed the pizza and the offerings that they have out there.
Yeah. Well, when in New York, you know.
Oh mate, yeah, I'm back on it now. See what this week brings. But it was just funny how much. Just shows, and that's another thing, isn't it, that people don't understand. Like, I did that purely as a sort of a fun exercise because I knew I was going to go and overindulge because it was only a few days. But just how much damage you can actually do in a short space of time if you're not. It's crazy.
But the other thing with the InBodies and what people forget is that most of it's done on percentages. The main part, and the 3 bars across the middle, is mostly done percentages. Now, if you're dehydrated from flying, from shitty food, and from just lack of proper hydration, your water in your muscle decreases. Your water capacity within the muscle decreases. So you might stay the same weight. Your body fat will not have changed over 4 days, like minimal. It won't be massive. But the way the InBody works, it picks up how much water's in your body and translates that into whether it's muscle or fat or other tissue. So if you're dehydrated, your muscle percent of your body weight is going to be lower, and therefore your fat percent goes up. So you haven't actually put on like a kilo of body fat in 4 days. That's not possible. But it's the reading on the InBody, and this is the thing we have with a lot of clients, is that they'll have that. They'll go on holiday for a week, and they'll come back and they've put on 5% body fat, and then all hell breaks loose, and they're doing all the HIIT sessions, and they're not eating, and it's like, calm down. calm down. Let's translate this a little bit better. But yeah, it's a funny old thing, and you know, we've all been there. It's easier said than done when you're in the position when it's you and you're on those scales and you're looking down and you've done the whole electro shock and you're holding on and you hear that da, 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 music and it's going up and you're like, whoa, stop, and it keeps going up. But for me, it's a little bit higher than yours, 100%. So, but I won't go into that. I've just started a strength cycle for the last 5 weeks. Like after the Open finished, I was like, like two WODs a week. So getting my heart rate up a couple of times a week, but just going on strength for 3 days a week. I'm only training 4 or 5 times a week at the moment because of work and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting, the whole body composition thing. But you think we'd know better. But when it's us and we have goals and targets, we need to keep on top of that. So, so you kindly sent me a copy of the first edition that's going out tomorrow of the affiliate
series.
Exclusive,
mate. Exclusive to the base show
on the channel.
Nobody's seen it except me, my business partner, and the videographer yet.
Amazing. And who's the videographer, by the way?
So yeah, if everyone could check him out, because his name's Joey Jackson. His Instagram handle is JVision Media. And he's pretty prominent on the UK CrossFit scene. He does a lot of like Hornsey's comps and things like that. And he's just absolutely brilliant. Like, he's great to work with as well. Like, you can give him, when he comes to the Defiant Games, I don't even have to give him a brief. I just leave him to it. That's his bag. But even with this, the time he took on this first episode, and then the recommendations he made off the back of it about how he thinks I could do better, how he could do better. And then we implemented them yesterday, and we'll continue to evolve and grow with it. But yeah, he's absolutely brilliant, mate.
It certainly looks the part. And is he specifically CrossFit? Oh, well, obviously there's a Hyrox there, but is he from a functional fitness background himself? Is he from CrossFit himself, or is it something he's sort of stumbled into?
Yeah, no, he's definitely in CrossFit. He's a member of a box. He trains out of that. He's a pretty fit kid and all, to be fair. He's pretty good on the floor as opposed to just right behind the video. But yeah, I think he's open to any sort of opportunities, as all people with a good skill at something are. But yeah, I think he's predominantly in the fitness space because I think that's one of his passions.
Right. So a good guy to know. Do you know what? I might get in contact with him and ask him if he wants to come on and have a chat about what he's done, how he's going to. That'd be a good shout. So yeah, check out Joey there, JVision Media, if you can. That'd be lovely. So you got Joey filming it. Did he edit the whole thing as well?
Yeah, the whole lot. And I think he had a bit of a job on his hands as well, mate, because when me and Jamie sat down to have the chat that was going to form the basis of the video, it's hard, isn't it? Because I wanted to just learn all about Jamie's story at Method because it was interesting. But like, the video was supposed to be about 30 minutes, and me and Jamie ended up talking for 40. So then we had to do the job of editing it out, because he came to me and said, "What do you want in? What do you want out?" And I want it all in because it was great, but we didn't want it, because the point is to advertise almost the affiliates. Those people that are on the fence, we were probably getting too much into it, because like when we talk to you or anyone that are passionate about it, we want all the detail. But when we're trying to reach new people and promote the message, you lose them with too much, don't you?
Yeah. But so we'll watch it in a second. So what I've done, Steve, I've been through it a couple of times. I've got sort of like some bits that really sparked my interest, a few visuals, a few clips, a few kind of like minute long. What I don't want to do is ruin it for everyone and just play loads of it so they don't watch it again. But there's certain bits from my perspective that really kind of caught my ear. And the last few weeks, that it wasn't intentional necessarily, but with the guests that I've had on over the last few weeks, they just seem to be within the two brain business world. Two of them are like really high flyers within two brain business in Europe. Magnus from Tromsø, and then I had Ricard from Berlin last week. These guys really know their stuff. They are affiliates through and through. They've been in it for a long old time. They know what they're talking about, and their businesses are thriving. They've hit this marker in Two Brain, which is £100,000 personal revenue a year marker. And Chris Cooper has this like number to hit that, and then you're into the like a another tier of kind of ownership and affiliate ownership. But everything that they've talked about, everything that they've said, has just lined up. Whenever I hear, whether it's on your show, whether it's on Pedro, whether it's on Savan, whatever the channel, whenever there's these really long-term successful affiliate owners on there, there's always this common thread that they have among them. And one of them seems to be that everyone's been a fucking engineer of some description in their past life before they came into it. So I almost say now, were you an engineer? Like I did last week with Ricard, and I trained as an engineer. Like it's this theme. So there's this systematic approach to business ownership. And there's this piece later on with Jamie when he talks about business ownership and how he got into it, and we'll play that in a bit. But from my perspective, I kind of had a few years away from affiliate ownership over the last couple of years, and for one reason or another, I sold them. But in the last couple of years, the way that people own affiliates and the way that affiliates are run, and they've had to adapt and they've had to change, is remarkable. The difference in when I started my first gym in 2015 to now is insane. The difference in box ownership is mad, and I'm loving exploring it from the outside. So listening and learning. So a lot of the content from that video that I found really interesting is with Jamie sat at the table later on when he's talking about kind of his background and his upbringing and how it became such an insane sort of gym. So what I'll do, I've got kind of these pieces throughout. I think I've got about 5 or 6 bits that we'll play, and then we'll just have a chat about your experience and filming of it and that kind of thing, which would be ideal, really. So tell me about kind of when you organised this. Was the intent that you got in contact with Method and they were going to definitely be the first one on the tour? Was it how did it go about kind of getting organised?
No, so initially we just kind of had the idea, then put it on our story on Instagram and said, "Is anyone interested?" And we got a few gyms that were interested. So we kind of did this almost mini comp thing where to find out who we should go to. What we wanted to do was find out kind of who had really engaged communities. So we put a form out, gave it to the gym owners and said, right, whoever gets the most sign-ups to this form will come to their gyms. Don't matter if you're the biggest gym or the smallest gym. And that's where we got CrossFit SPT that we're going to in May. They had like 300 people complete this form. And I don't like, because I said it can be your mum, your dad, whoever you want to complete it. So we were like, well, we're definitely going there. And then I looked after and it was a 3-hour drive, but we were going there. And then another one of the smaller ones that we're going to, CrossFit Gainsborough, that's a really small box. And they got loads. So we're like, right, we're going there. We're true to his word. We want to go and engage with these communities that are engaged with you. But I wanted to visit Method anyway. So I actually reached out to Method myself and said, look, we're doing this. Are you interested? And straight away, Jamie were like, 100%, yeah, because they're all for promoting, because they could promote us as much as we could promote them. And they're all for telling their story. And it's great because the lessons you can learn from them are great. And so then we decided for that to be the first one because it was just after the Open. They got all those Open sign-ups, so it just worked perfectly to line up with that, really.
Yeah, it's nuts. It just seems to be coincidental that Method, when people see the state of this gym, right, and I mean that in a good way, and hear what Jamie has to say about business ownership and business organisation and staffing and coaching, and community, and then you see the fact that they had the second worldwide most amount of sign-ups for the Open. That's not coincidental. No. They're not some shed in the middle of nowhere that have got 10 members that the owner's struggling. He's worked hard at that, and the Open is representative of that, even though some people don't necessarily see it that way. It's true. What I'm showing here, guys, is just so you got method training there, gym in Newcastle. We're zooming out, just so you can see where we are in the UK. So Newcastle up there, home of the Geordies, the Magpies. Although, is he? Did you ask about if he was a toon?
No, you can make that mistake, can't you? If you get a Mackham and a Geordie mixed up, you might get in trouble. So I just left it, mate.
Yeah, there's some rivalry up there, guys. If you don't know, right. So let me get out this video. So first bit, I'll just play it at the top.
It's a little quiet on my side, mate.
How is it?
I don't know if it is.
I'll pause it on the dog. So straight away there, you've got this sense of like if you're an affiliate and you walk in and you've got that kind of reception area, you know you're at a successful affiliate. You know you're at somewhere that give a shit. They take pride in what they do, and they've earned that. Something along the way has all worked out. That's the thing of hard work. It does show itself. They're not just you walk in the door and you've got the platform in front of you.
Yeah, and that was a cool thing. So when we arrived, there were already people there like 20, 30 minutes before the class started, waiting for the class, and then people were staying for like a similar amount of time after. And one of the cool things they do with their membership, which I think helps cultivate the community massively, is one of their tiers of membership includes coffee and shakes.
Amazing.
So you get there early, you get your coffee as part of your membership, so it encourages that sort of community, and then you stay after for your shake to discuss your workout. So it just cultivates a community immediately, and it's just I thought that was really cool.
That's such a good idea. Is there a name for that? You know, they've got a jazzy name for that membership.
No, I don't know what it was, but I just know it was part of their top tier membership. You just got unlimited as well. I think it was like, but obviously you factor it in. You don't have to charge much extra to get that benefit. And yeah, it was just I just thought it was brilliant, and it showed that it worked because everyone, like I say, was there for ages before and ages after.
All along, like when I first started doing CrossFit, I called it a youth centre, like a youth club for adults. It was like you'd go there, you had a kick. Well, the youth centres I went to, you'd go there, you go to the tuck shop at the beginning, you've had a kick around, you might have a scrap, then you're done, and then you hang around and you chat on the sofas playing pool for like an hour until you got picked up by your mum and dad or walked home. That kind of environment, we thrive in that environment as humans, in an environment with people around us that we kind of want to be around. And when you see stuff like this, it's perfect. It's you come here, you're working hard for an hour or so, and then you get to debrief, sit down, have a chat. And we all know about got to be careful how I say this, post-WOD clarity. Yeah. After that workout, it's not just when you're laying on the floor breathing out your backside after a workout. The next half an hour, you're sky high, you're feeling good, you've worked hard, and you've earned this sort of good feeling about yourself. To sit down for a coffee afterwards or a shake or whatever and have a little natter with your mates, it's awesome. That's perfect. And a lot of gyms miss out on that. A lot of them are, people rushing out the door and gone. And for a lot of people, that might be the case. But the option to sit down and do that is very, very supportive of what we're talking about with community. This guy's hair is awesome, by the way. Yeah. I don't think that fit. So let's have a looky. I'm just thinking about, so here we go. So briefing pre-workout. Oh, quick one. Look at that gym. Insane setup. admire it. There he is. There's the big man himself. So we'll keep playing.
I ended up in a bit of a hole as well, mate, with this workout.
I love that bit, by the way. That editing is bloody perfect because that's the exact pitch that's going in your head.
Yeah.
and only someone that's been there and done it will know how that feels. So your boy on the camera did a good job there.
Well, I admit there, the challenge I had was I was paired in a team of 3 with Jamie and Elliot. And Elliot's the guy who owns Project, who we were at yesterday. So they're obviously the box owners, fit as anything. So they're trying to out fitness each other, and I'm just like in middle of them, going, "All right, lads." It was I got filled in really well on that workout, but it was good fun.
Yeah. I can see it in your eyes there. You're in danger there. Really man down time. So what was the workout? Was it just a regular sort of Saturday weekend session that you joined in with?
Yeah, it was just their class programming on a Saturday. They always generally have a team workout, as most places do. It was it was that long ago now. It was 100 cal assault bike in a team of 3, and then 100 dumbbell bench, 100 over dumbbell burpees, and then back up. And then they threw some toes to bar in last minute, so it split with 50 toes to bar in the middle, and it was all just split how you want. 2 sync on the burpees, obviously 1 on the bench. So yeah, it was the burpees that did me, mate, because they were going fast on them, and I just couldn't keep up. It was, it was terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah, the ability.
There's Gareth. That's Gareth from CrossFit UK as well, who came up and got stuck in.
Awesome. So I want to go to Hannah quickly, who is the coach at the time. Now, I don't think Jamie talks about Hannah specifically, but we talk about you guys talk about the coaching levels later on with Jamie. Do you know what Hannah's background with Method is? How long she's been there, that kind of thing? Did you go into that at all?
Yeah, very briefly with Hannah. She said she'd only been a coach for about 3 months, so she'd done her. They do an induction thing, as Jamie talks about later, where you have to do so many hours unpaid to get through the door. So obviously she was a member anyway, and then just got the buzz for it. They got the bug for it, and then she'd been doing it 3 months, and she was absolutely brilliant. So it just showed that shadowing process that Method have in place makes the coaches, like, I'm not saying she wouldn't have been anyway, but obviously if you do that much shadowing, which is 250 hours, you're gonna become pretty good just by default. And that was just a massive key thing, because another bad rep, fairly or unfairly, that CrossFit sometimes has is anyone can take the level 1 and go and coach. It don't make you a coach sometimes, even though you will learn a lot of great stuff. But she was a coach, you know what I mean? Because that's why I think I say in the video, like, she was like, "Oh, I've been doing it 3 months." I'm like, "Oh God, you're very good." And it wasn't meant in a patronizing way. It was just like, Jesus, like, I thought she'd been doing it. And that shows that the method that Method have works, because it enables that development and that growth before you're on the gym floor. And then when you're there, you're almost a natural by default because of the time you've had to put in to get there.
And what you said a minute ago is 100% true. If you've got a very, very decently ran gym with decent coaches to learn from, that's when members become your ultimate recruitment tool. Because not only have they been going and working out there, they've been by default learning the standard of coaching that the owners expect by being on the receiving end of that coaching. And then they see the rewards and benefits of that day's decent coaching. So when they then become a coach or want to learn to become a coach, it's in there already. They've inadvertently been learning how to coach by being a member initially. So if you're a member at a gym for 2 years beforehand, and you've done 3 hours a week, or 3 workouts a week, you've put in potentially, well, I can't do the maths quickly off the top of my head, but you've done a lot of hours, over 1,000 hours of absorbing that information and being taught. So you've been on the receiving end of that. So not only the L1 is a gatekeeper, the L1 is an official stamp and having access to CrossFit HQ's philosophy. It doesn't therefore make you a coach. That's why you're called a trainer. You are then allowed to learn and allowed to develop and allowed to do that at your affiliate. That's how that works. It's not the weekend is that and through and through, which is the mistake I think a lot of people make with that mistranslation there. So yeah, good point. So here's Hannah.
I'm here with Hannah, who's just coached the amazing class. That's so amazing. Look at the statement. So how long have you been?
For about 8 years.
Wow.
I've just been coaching for about 3 years.
Not really long. Very good. So what's bringing you to coaching?
I think it was just the reward you sort of get from like helping people, and then as I sort of started, like the progress people make, like it's just like it's really rewarding to see that, teach open the arm when they get like the first bar, the first pull up, or anything like that, and it's nice to be sort of involved in that sort of thing for them.
One thing that I love about that answer is that it's genuine. She's been there 8 years. That's a long-term member. She loves that place. That's home, second home to her. But her answer is she wants to work there because she gets to see people getting that first toaster bar or first rep and getting fitter. It's not I get to be here so that I can train for free, or I want to be an athlete and I want to compete. It's I want to see the community getting better, and that's so nice to hear.
And it's so real as well, mate, because I literally just on the cuff went, throw a camera in her face and let me ask her a question. So it wasn't even like she had time to sort of rehearse that. It was so real and in fact true that, like you say, it's just an amazing answer.
Yeah. And seems like a lovely girl as well to be able to be trained by, it does make a difference when your coaches are passionate, when you feed off the coaches, and I don't think coaches really understand the impact they have on people's hour. Like you're there as to inspire people, to educate, but also to entertain. You're partially an entertainer, and what really grinds me is when you get these coaches that say, "I'm not there to be your best mate," or "I'm not there to," you're there to be someone they can talk to. They can, have a little bit of a moan, but talk about their kids too. You're there for entertainment purposes as well as, and part of the standard of coaching that you see with people like Hannah is that they really do give a shit about the individual, and they are there as a sounding board for people, not just about the toaster bar, but they'll ask how the kids are. They'll ask about their holidays, and it's so apparent when you get that. She's not your typical coach doing 2 hours a week to get their membership that will stand around with a cup of tea in their hand, with a stick in the other, shouting 3, 2, 1, go 1,000 times an hour, and just not wanting to be there. And there's something Jamie talks about later on, which is very true. So this is Jamie again. He was on the bike earlier. Now there's a lot here of Jamie talking. I'm not going to play the whole lot, but there's a few different snippets that I'd like to play, and then we can have a chat about it and your thoughts on there. The first one is his background and business-wise. So I think we're about here. So he talks about how he got into business and business culture within his family.
So it's like, but every dinner time, every evening was what's happening in business. What are we doing with staff? What are we doing with So from the get-go, we talked a lot about that sort of stuff, and like my girlfriend and my brother's wife, I think, are always a little bit taken aback that when our family kind of get together, it's down to the nuts and bolts and figures from the start. And they're like, why aren't we just talking about like nice stuff?
Big brother up.
Yeah, like that's why we get into like margins and like overheads and stuff. But it's
when I ask you how work were, I just wanted you to say it's all right, cheers.
Yeah.
They do your forecast for the next 6 months.
They love it. Like they love like their longer retired now, but I definitely owe that side of stuff to being brought up like that. And I think for someone who hasn't been brought up like that, I think you're on the back foot, because it's not something that comes natural. And I think if you've never had that, it's always this like really, really unknown world of employment, which is like safe, consistent, maybe like a set out progression. On the other side of that, it's, how do I employ someone? What do I do for a work contract? What do I do when it comes to like signing a lease? But ultimately, it's just like everything. You just have to take advice.
So there's a lot to unpack in that, and it doesn't seem like it on the offset. But when you're with Jamie, when you're talking to him, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's in your face about business all the time. He doesn't come across that way, but his knowledge base is obviously, sound.
Yeah.
When you're in that gym, what presence does he have when he's in there with you?
I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it was like the people seem to want to be around him, if you know what I mean. They were like one of them. I was waiting because I didn't want to interrupt. One of the members were just talking to him, and I was like, I just got the feeling that the conversation was never going to end, and not in a negative way, just he was engaged in that conversation, so I wasn't going to interrupt him. And it was just like that, like when he was on the floor working out, he was just doing what everyone else was doing. He was just part of the class, which I know sounds silly, but again, he was just naturally part of the community and like approachable and just natural. But the other thing is, I found it so strange to talk to him, for him to be such a great business mind, but the gym feel like a gym. It didn't feel like a business. It felt like a gym, but the business that underpinned it was just flawless. And that was what stood out to me, because I don't know if I said it in here, but a lot of people that run a gym want it to be a gym. They don't want it to be a business, but unless it's a business, it can't be a gym. And the balance that Jamie's found in that is just incredible, because it is like, it's got that feel of being just about the fitness, but behind the scenes, you know what I mean? The things that are in place are just make it, it's just set up for success beyond belief. Like,
again, the word systems. When I was an affiliate owner, my business manager kept talking to me about systems and automations. I was like, oh, mate, shut up. I do not want to hear that. But the older I've got and the more I've seen the successful affiliates, it's like, I get it. And that is where I see Jamie's success here. And it all ties in with what you've just said about him being able to be on the gym floor. And the reason I asked about his presence is because some gyms you go to, the gym owner or the manager or whoever you want to call it will be on the gym floor, and there's this not avoidance, not a scare. This kind of like it's them and us, And I think early days of CrossFit, my background CrossFit, I don't know about other gyms. That wasn't just naturally how it was. That the affiliate owner would be doing classes 3 or 4 times a week. They would be in the gym most hours of the day. They would be part of the community. They would jump in. They would know everyone's addresses. They would know all of that. And somewhere along the line, it kind of became, whether they got bored, they got distant, whatever it was, they had to go back to a full-time work. There was this aura about like owners and the owner, and then the community as being something separate. And the fact that you've got people like Jamie that can be stood on the gym floor and be part of the community, but also being in charge of all those bloody massive decisions that you've just talked about is admirable. That balance is very tough. People don't quite get how tough it is to find that line you walk along. We talked about this before about Khalipa talking about 10 years ago. He wrote an article about walking this line between being a friend and a community kind of owner and then a business person. It's really tough. You get that 1 month where they say, if they're too pally, I can't pay membership this month, or I'm going on holiday for a month. Do you mind if I just skip my membership payment? What do you do in that situation? Having systems in place that are robust, but also having that level of interaction with the community and the respect that you earn from that, Jamie's clearly nailed that. So from everything that I've gathered, it's very, very clear. And then you see all the other elements like the open sign-ups, the engagement from his community to sign up for the open. That's for me a big deal. When you get a CrossFit affiliate that has, what was it, in excess of 300, I think it was,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like open sign-ups.
322.
That is just nuts. The second in the world. And why? There's loads of special things about Newcastle, but in this context, there's nothing special about, Geordies or people from
Yeah.
Newcastle signing up for the Open. It's not like they get any special treatment or attention. It's all from the top down, from the way that they want the engagement, and they've been working on that engagement. He had every right, the branding, the gym, his ownership, the systems, everything that he's got in that gym and they've got, that's nothing to do with HQ's input. Nothing. It's all their hard work. But still, they want engagement for the Open because they know that is a binding agent for the community to get together once a year. And it's part of their cycle within the gym. So fair play to them for doing that. That's a big.
And he also, mate, he has unwavering standards that actually, some people don't like rules, but people want rules. You know what I mean? So in that gym, there are nobody's treated any different to anyone else. So, if there's a waiting list for the class, they don't increase the numbers on the class. It's just a waiting list. That's the way it is. They can only have one person per lifting platform on open gym. That's the way it is. Like, I parked my van outside the front. He didn't want people to think that was okay, so he asked me to move my van. We had to book on the class like everyone else. It's just really, really good, and the people there will obviously know that. And because from the top down, he wouldn't have jumped on the class if there weren't space. And that's the sort of thing you want from the top. It's like, these are the rules. I'll follow them. You follow them. We all know where we stand, and then we can all move forward together with no ambiguity, no nonsense. And I think that's great as well because, we'll go to some gyms and we won't even have to book on, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's how they do things. But we had to wait until the last class because the other classes were full. The members pay the bills. Like, we're not special. Members are. So it was just, I love that. I absolutely love it because we just want consistency, and we want rules within reason that keep us structured and keep us all on a level playing field, don't we?
He understands that community is the base of everything and that they're central to everything. And I love that. It's the culture within the gym, and business owners and new business owners don't quite understand. You're not there to get instant gratification from your members and your community. You're there for the mid to long term with them. And by telling them, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about, if you see someone not putting clips on the bar for when they lift, I'll just let them get away with it for whatever reason. I don't want to have that conversation. Nip it in the bud. You've got to lead by example as an affiliate owner and a gym owner. If you do that, it's just a given. People will automatically put clips on their bar and on their bar because that's just how it's done. Little things like that, they all add up. If they don't, the respect erodes over time. And then you moan later on that your plates are falling apart, or people are leaving because the kit isn't up to scratch. The gym opens down the road and they've got nice shiny bars, or the Magpie members will float off, and then you're down $5,000 for membership for the month. It's these standards, these micro dosing of difficult conversations. It all adds up to a much better culture and community, and you can tell from what you've just said and from the gym standard that it appears that Jamie has done that from the stuff. So we're all good. Right. So, that does remind me actually. Right. So my old affiliate was about 15 minutes from Heathrow, in Windsor, and we were at an athletic centre. So we had full access to a Olympic grade running track and everything. And Polar, the watch and heart rate monitors and everything like that, they launched this new watch. They had Annie Thorsdaughter as one of their reps, their ambassadors, and they had what's the lady's name that won Eilish, the long distance runner? I can't remember saying it. Anyway, very good GB long distance Scottish runner. they came to the gym, and all this press had come from around Europe to come and film, and they rang us the day before, and they said, look, we need access to the gym. We need, we've got a group of people coming to spectate and watch and press. Annie's going to do a workout in your gym. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I've got a class on. And it would have been really bloody easy for me to have said, rang the 4 or 5 people that were on the lunchtime class and said, guys, do you know what? We've got Annie Thor's daughter coming with Polar, blah, 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 blah. But the next day, Annie would have gone, Polar would have gone. They wouldn't even think about us again, right? But instead, we fed back and we said, well, we've got a class till 1:30. If you want to come in from 2:00, you can use the gym, no problem. They came back and they said, oh, that'd be fine, thank you. Then the members, I let them know the midday class, they stayed on and they stayed in the room and had this insane experience watching Annie Thor's daughter doing these double workout and this insane experience. And it all comes back to, it would have been so damn easy to just go, oh yeah, that's fine, and put your community second. But all the way, and I wasn't a special affiliate owner, that's just a standard. Your affiliate members come first above all else. Nothing should come in front of them or ahead of them at all. And when you've got a gym like Jamie's, the size of it and how well it operates, it's even more admirable that stuff like that is set. When you've got a small affiliate, it's quite easy to keep on top of systems like that. But when you've got somewhere that's got, well in excess of 500 members, I'd imagine, you can imagine how easy it would be to slip up somewhere or drop the ball. So just goes to show, this testament to how well they've run in the gym. I've talked about this a few times recently, especially with the Two Brain guys, Rickard and Magnus, and we talked about the professionalization of coaching. And on this, I think it was Jamie. He said he talked about this with Pedro a little while ago as well.
Yeah, I heard him talk about it with Pedro, and that's why I got him to do it again, because I just thought everybody needs to. Anyone that's got a gym, you need to hear this if you want to keep your talent. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah, there's this 3-minute segment I'm going to play. It is absolutely spot on, and there's no rehearsing this. This is from the source. This is exactly how it should play out. So any affiliate owners out here that are wondering how to keep your coaches, listen up.
For the members as much as we possibly can. We put a big focus on the staff to try and professionalise coaching. If we can do that, then we can start to create long-term career paths for people rather than just jobs.
On that, can you, like I heard you talk about it with Pedro, can you give a bit of context to that? Because anyone that's got a gym that might be watching this, that's really, I found that fascinating and really useful.
So the guy downstairs, so the guy who took our class is funny because he's come back to do some part-time coaching, but there were a couple of members of staff that we brought on and who were super valuable members of staff, but we lost them to emergency services like police, fire, or ambulance or whatever, or like medics, or we lost them to the military, or we lost them to like these other quite like physical non-office-based jobs. Yeah. And it was almost like people would move through doing coaching until they found that they like aged out of it, or they couldn't do it anymore because they wanted more money, or they wanted more stability or something like that. And from my point of view, I'm like, you're gonna leave. Like, they know the numbers, like they know how rapidly the gym's growing. I said to them for so many years, there is no limit to the opportunity that you can have here. If you want to come in with an idea and be like, we call it like intrapreneurial, which is a bit limp, but like if they want to be in here and they want to like carve out a service or a product that will add to the top line for us, I'm like, go for it. Do it. If you make me £100,000, I'm going to at least pay you 50. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you want to add that, like, we'll work it out somehow. And there's no bounds to the amount of money you want to make. Like, tell me the same in employment in public service. Yeah. Work yourself to the bone. Yeah. Like, you probably aren't going to be recognised. Like, I'd rather be the big cog in the small machine than the little cog in the gigantic machine. But the problem wasn't that there wasn't the opportunity. The problem was that I wasn't conveying that and giving people enough clarity on what was available. So I was like, after the second time someone had left, a girl on the desk had left and joined the military. I was like, come on, we can't keep having this.
Yeah.
So I looked at the fire service and what their progression is, and like you go in at like whatever it is, 24, 25k a year. You do all your training for like a couple of years, and then you get boosted up to whatever it is at mid-30s, and then on from there as you take on roles and responsibilities. Great, then you get more financial compensation, but you also have to take on more responsibility. So I was like, well, if we are going to keep people and stop them going to those professions, then we need to at least pay this.
Yeah.
And from my side, I'm like, you know, the fire service do, and the police and the medics do an unbelievable job. If we're looking at the stresses and strains of working in that compared to the stresses and strains of working here, I would say this is a few rungs down the ladder compared to that. So if we can at least match their financial benefit, but maybe take away some of the downsides of working in public service, then we might be able to retain them for a little bit longer. I don't think we'll ever match their pensions, but you know, maybe they can figure that out.
Well, the way things are going, mate, they're not.
So that right there is accountability. He saw a problem. He realised that he was leaving people. People were leaving the business as a stepping stone towards the emergency services, which, by the way, is absolutely true of most gyms. Like the gym I'm at now, we've got 10 coppers. We've got in excess of 10 firefighters, male and female. We've got loads of ambulance drivers and medics. It's you know, very, very apparent that a lot of those services do go to CrossFit because they know the value of it. And also a full-time firefighter that was a coach that left and has now a full-time firefighter, probably for the same reasons. But what Jamie's done there is he's shown the adaptation, the business accountability level to stop, address the issue, and then find a way forward, like you said you did when you were in New York. You had a bump in the road, you had a thing, you took notes, you debriefed, and you found a way forward. The one thing I would add to that conversation as a selling point for people to stay on as coaches is the people that are going into the emergency services, right? Firefighters, police, and medics, so ambulance. One of the main reasons they want to do that is because they want to save people, they want to protect, and they want to serve, and they want to, you know, help people live longer, basically. We do that at CrossFit. We do that at the gyms. We are doing that. We are educating people in order to maybe potentially avoid having to use the emergency services. The type of people that are in that mindset of wanting to assist and help society, personally, I think we're preventative. You know, we assist the services by what we do. So those people, one of the selling points of staying on as a full-time CrossFit coach and being in the gym environment is you're getting to do that in a different way. You know, we're preventative rather than addressing problems. So yeah, it was just an interesting piece there. Any thoughts on that?
No, exactly that. I was having a similar chat with Elliot yesterday. The preventative thing's the key there, isn't it? Like both the overlap in being a CrossFit coach to those things is just wanting to help, wanting to make people better, help them when they're at the most vulnerable. And if we can get that done before they need that extreme level of care or assistance, because even, you know, like you might not think it in the same way, but obviously even with the firefighters and things like that, you know, how many times is that just somebody stuck somewhere as opposed to actually a fire being like blazing and they can't get themselves out of a chair or, you know, or something like that. And they're the things that with the right measures in place before, you never get to that stage, do you? And yeah, medic speaks for itself. And even the police, like I think when people take a bit more accountability for their actions or are a little bit more confident or comfortable in themselves, which you are when you're fitter, stronger, healthier, you're not as likely to like maybe commit a crime or get into a dispute that needs intervention, because you're much more comfortable and confident in who you are, which makes you a better member of society and less likely to lean on the police for anything. So yeah, the preventative spans all three of those massively.
It's interesting you bring that up, because I had the academy program on last week, and what they're doing in the UK is this phenomenal charity being set up. And Hannah came on the show and she discussed it, and I don't know if you've kind of seen them or worked with them at all, but they've got this trifecta approach to kind of community resolve, to get to using the affiliates, to using members of our society that genuinely want to help and encourage people, work between schools, affiliates, and councils to basically take kids from difficult backgrounds, with whether they've got I can't remember the correct term, but kids that are need assistance with their learning at schools, giving them opportunity to go to work within CrossFit affiliates. It's a charity base with working with British weightlifting as well, and the results they've had are insane. These kids are totally reforming their lives through affiliates, and the local councils down, I think it was in Worcester, the local council down there is like, what are you guys doing? These kids are like totally reforming. They're coming, whether it's from they're in foster care, whether they're in kind of homes, whether they're coming out of juvenile facilities, whatever it is. They're coming out of these places and they're going to CrossFit gyms and they're learning about hard work, respect, community, passion, drive. They're feeling love, and they're coming out and they're joining the services. They're joining the military. They're becoming CrossFit coaches. They want to give back. They're going on to the CrossFit teenage games. Some of them. It's like this magic environment, and it all comes down to them wanting to help. Hannah and all the people. There's like 12 people involved organising this thing. They're nationwide now. They're up all the way up to kind of Scotland, right at the top, all the way down to the coast in Cornwall. They've got this network now they're building, and they're onto this magic thing that's just totally reforming lives. And it's all comes down to, because all they want to do is help. And they found kids and teenagers and early 20s that just can't find that break and can't find the help. They've seen this massive gap between those kids and where they want to be, and they've realised that we have this perfect solution for it. So they've filled that gap, and they're an amazing organisation. I can't sing their praises enough. But from a commercial aspect, you're absolutely right. You get, if we can take those people, like James just said, that they want to help, but also they do have to remember they do need to pay their mortgage, they do need to raise their kids, they do need income. If you can find a way, like Jamie said, to do that with coaches at your gym, then you're onto a winner, because they're going to work hard for you. You know that they're going to help the community because that's what they want to do. And you know that you're going to have a successful business. It's a win-win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that with the kids that you're talking about, mate, because I think of how much it changed my life when I discovered it at, 35. And kids are much more malleable and much more sort of receptive to advice at that age. So if it can do that for me at my age, God, yeah, imagine those kids, what it's doing for them. It's incredible.
Yeah, and John, or Jon, as some people call him, we were talking about this in the week after. He was on, listening to the chat with Hannah. He was saying, as a teen, if that would have been something that would have been an option, my God, like the having that availability to go down that path would have been a fucking life changer. And Hannah said that herself. CrossFit saved her life. And again, she's another person that said that exact same line. And it just keeps coming up. And yeah, probably would have changed my life at the time. And that comes with hindsight. And the people that are involved and the people that are organising it all have got that hindsight, and they're passionate about it because they've been through that system. They've been through the ringer in an early part of their life, come out the other side because of this thing that we know can work. So I'm hoping that we can continue to work with them and promote it as much as we can and get involved somehow, because people like that need all the help they can get, and all she wants to do, all they want to do is help. All they want to do is, how can I help? It's that phrase, how can I help? That just it keeps ringing true across.
If there's anything we can do with that, mate, through Defiant Print Services, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or just put us in touch, or let us have a chat, and we'll assist wherever we can, because that's incredible.
Oh, amazing, mate! Yeah, I'll definitely link you up there. That'll be awesome. Every help they can get. Now, the last bit on here before the video wraps up is, I'm just trying to fast forward to it. So Jamie talks about a pathway for the coaches to get in there, which I thought was really interesting as well. And because, again, what's great is that this is, and I talked to John about this probably a couple of years ago, and he was absolutely on the button here, is that CrossFit coaches and gym owners have got this reluctancy, myself included, to come across like professional and to be entrepreneurs and to be on socials all the time and to be this. We kind of have this reluctance because we imagine ourselves as being above it or better. In actual fact, the best people in CrossFit all do it and have these systems and don't mind putting themselves out there, you know.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what Jamie's about to talk about.
Seen it, and we've graded them, so they've passed all those bits. Then they'll be moved into like a level 1 coach or a development coach. They'll get a certain wage. Then after 750 total hours, they'll move into a level 2, which will be like whatever the next stage is called, advanced coach. Then from there on, they do 1,500 hours, move to the next one, and we'll all through these stages. Once they've made it past the internship, we will fund their next CrossFit course. Okay. And then once they've passed the CrossFit course and they've ticked all the other criteria, they will move to the next pay grade, and the next pay grade, and the next pay grade.
So it's laid out, clear as day. Yeah. This is what you need to do to get here. So, and that's all anyone ever wants. And they want a path. They want it to be structured. They want it to be consistent. And they want it to be fair. And if we get that,
so there's no real conversations of, oh, like I need more money because this is the way that you're going to get it. Yeah. And there's no people who are maybe apprehensive about having a conversation because they think like, you know, it's ungrateful or whatever. And then they just exit. We don't have that anymore really either, because like if they want to exit and they want to do something different, you know, that's totally their choice. But at least there's a path laid out. And the final one, like after they get past the elite coach, is they can apply for shareholder status. So they have to do 6,000 hours, which is roughly like six years worth of work. Yeah, I mean, if you look like if you're a partner in a law firm, you're probably looking at like a little bit more than that. You're looking at probably about 10 years before you can potentially get partner status, and they will be offered shares at a discounted rate, and then they can almost like a debenture, and they can then draw a dividend. They can draw dividends. Yeah, and they can get a wage that's like suitable for their director status. They will draw a dividend at the end of the year depending on company performance. And if they ever wanted to exit, they'd also sell their shares at the increased value of the company.
So that's amazing.
But I think it's what it needs. Yeah, I think it's what it needs, because if you look at like any other sort of profession, maybe not the shareholder status. Like solicitors, accountants, they can kind of go down that route. But we need good career coaches.
That's the line for me. We need good career coaches. And that's such a big deal, because outside of CrossFit, that's quite obvious. It's quite normal to talk about that. But as soon as you go within the world of CrossFit and the walls of CrossFit, there's almost this reluctancy to talk on those lines. It's kind of like it's almost like an embarrassment to talk about being professionalized, and to talk about money, and to talk about drive and next steps and becoming, you know, a different tier coach. It's always shuddered. I'm guilty of this as well. You know, I've found this very difficult to get my head around, because one of the reasons I went into CrossFit and become a gym owner and a coach was to escape the corporate world. I think because of that big jump away from it, I've been a little bit reluctant to dip my toe in that water again within our world. But it's become so apparent to me over the last couple of years that it's actually a requirement now. It's not optional.
Yeah.
So, and it's lovely to hear that. And again, like we talked about the clips on the bar, or when it becomes cultural, it doesn't get questioned. It's just how it is. It's just the way that things work. And imagine that in the corporate world. I know he said there's different tiers in the corporate world. If you said to someone, an account exec somewhere, if you said to them, you've got to work 6 years in order to get to shareholder status, your average sort of 25-year-old would jump at that chance.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a part owner, be able to withdraw dividends if they know what they are. And I'm going to be a part owner in this. If I work here for 6 years and prove myself, great. And at the end of that, you've got these people that have been working for a minimum 6 years, have done thousands and thousands of hours, that are literally part of the gym, are part of the culture, embodied it. And then they get to become part of the actual, the gym itself from a leadership and ownership perspective. That's such a great system. And it'll be lovely to it'd be lovely to see where that goes, because I don't know. They've been open 11 years, I think, and obviously that system will probably be relatively new, I'd imagine. So it'd be interesting to hear from Jamie in a few years' time about how that's gone and if that system has played out, which the way that we hope it would. And that guarantee, no, it doesn't guarantee, but it's as close as to a guarantee as you can that you're going to get decent staff. They're part of the culture. They embody what you do, again, allowing you to take a step back away from things, and they're taking some responsibility. But then you've got longevity there. You've got people that want to be there because the whole plan is that in 6 years, your gym's still open. Because otherwise this whole plan doesn't go well. So everyone's working towards this common cause, which is exactly what we're after.
And it does attract the right people, because you know what people are like. Some people will say, well, I've got to do 6,000 hours before I can get that. That's too much. And they're the ones that you don't want anyway, because that's not too much. You're just scared of the work it takes to get there. And that's, it sort of filters those people out immediately anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. And there's this running joke that me and John and a few others have got about these adverts that go out every now and again. I'm looking for 10 men aged 35 to 45 that want to lose body fat and add muscle mass in 12-week cycle. Get in contact, limited availability. It's like, it's just, John likes that model. But it doesn't have to be that way in our industry, especially when you've built up this community. We've already got this system in place that works, constantly very functional, performs at high intensity. We've already got the system. We've already got programming pretty much nailed at this point. At this point in CrossFit's development, the programming can be rehashed. It can be reused. If you take a brand newbie from the start, they've just walked in, they've never done CrossFit, you could go back to the 2003 main site and just cycle that through. It would work damn well for what they're doing now. It hasn't really changed at GPP level. Only at the tip of the spear for the sport have things had to have changed, because the level of athleticism is just through the roof, and they're having to come up with these wild fucking ways to test people's fitness. But for GPP, the standard is set. We know what we're doing. It's creativity at this point. It's how well can we sell it? How well can we perform it? How well can we coach it? It's not magic. It's basic rules and discipline, reps and sets, and performing it as well as you can. The intensity is where the magic is and where the results come. So I think that's where the change in gym ownership has come from an affiliate perspective. And as a result of that, the emphasis and the priorities have shifted for the affiliate owners that want to be in it for the long run. They've had to professionalize. They've had to do it. And exactly, how well can we coach it? How well can you coach? And there's this part, I think, that you... Oh, hang on. I got one more bit of this video that I want to go to. I'm so glad that you've said that, John, because you've just reminded me where we're at. I think it is 23.50. Here we go. Right, I call this the death cycle. So it's coming up at this point. I might have preempted this now. Let's see.
The current stations when they go down that route. But we need good career coaches. If we keep going through the process of
Here we go.
charging too little, not being able to afford good coaches,
Yeah.
have a bad product, so we can't raise the price, so we can't
Yeah.
charge anymore, so we get bad coaches, so we can't
Yeah.
charge, and the show goes on and on and on.
That right there, the death cycle. You see it so often. You see it with brands. Like for an example, Stella Artois. Like in the 90s, they were like the premium lager. They were the premium lager. And because of diversification in the market, you get different brands coming out. Stella, to try and compete with their rivals, the price point started coming down. They have to make cutbacks. Staffing went. The brewery moved to a cheaper place. The brewery time came down. It took 24 hours to brew from basic ingredients to a tinny. The price kept going down. And by 2010, Stella is like the joke brand. No one wants to drink it anymore. And it's not until they sold in about 2012, I think it was, they went through this. They had to go through this complete rebrand. You see it across all markets. Skoda in the car automotive world, they had to rebrand, and they did a good job when VW bought them. You get it across all different sectors. Now, in our specific corner of the fitness market, we have to do the same thing. We can't. And when it comes to coaching, that death cycle that you get for coaches, we want to make cutbacks. All right, where's the first place we can make money? When you look at your spreadsheet, what are we paying out for a lot of? Oh, the coaching. Oh, how do we cut that back? Right, okay, we're going to pay you less, or we're not going to raise the price of the coaches. Oh, you can do 2 hours a week to get your membership for free.
Yeah.
Now, how many decent career coaches are you going to get with that model? It just goes round and round and round. You earn less. The end user experience is shoddy. They can't coach very well, which is where that came about. How well can we coach it? If you're a farmer, I don't know, I'm looking at a hill with a sheep on it. If you're a farmer full time and you want to earn your membership by coaching 2 hours a week, you come in the evening and you grab your coffee and you stand there counting 1, 2, 3, go every 2 minutes. Are you going to be effectively coaching? Probably not. You're not going to have the passion. Are the members that are faced with that, are they going to get the best hour of their day?
Yeah.
No, they're really, really not. And the flip side of that is absolutely rinsing the coaches that are there for long-term or full-time pay and making them work too much, working them too hard. They're going to get tired. They're going to be doing 6 hours of coaching from 6 a.m. till 8:30 p.m. split across the day, doing HIIT training, interval work, and it's a killer. Without breaks, without resource, without the other coaches to back up that can live up to that standard. And it's this death spin that people go into. So I'm so glad Jamie talked about that, because that's such a big deal. And if the first place you should be cutting back is not your coaching, you should pay them more, get better people in to provide a better service, coach better. You'll get word of mouth, which is, as we all know in CrossFit, is our biggest selling point, our biggest retention tool are our members, and our best recruitment tool are the members. And that all comes down to the way that they experience our gym and the culture. And that all comes from the top. So when you get someone like Jamie talking here about everything that he's talked to, and I haven't played it all because I want people to actually go to your channel and watch it. There's so much content in there for people to learn about how to actually run a gym. And then when you see what they've actually built, you can't be jealous of somewhere like that. You just admire it. You look at the gym floor, it's insane. You look at that bit that we looked at the beginning with the coffee and what you talked about, having the protein shakes included in the top tier of level. It all makes sense when you hear him talking about business ownership. It all makes sense. So for anyone that's sat around thinking, why is my gym not doing well? How can I improve? You've got a blueprint right there. And it sounds like this monumental task. How can I do that? I haven't got any income. Start to pay people. I know it sounds awful, but have a look at your staffing, have a look at your coaching, diversify a little bit, get different parts of income, offer more PT in your dead hours, listen to Two Brain, get their free download of their book that they do every year with all the data and numbers, figure out where you can make more income incrementally on top of it, start paying your coaches more, get better coaches in, and all of a sudden things start to become better. It doesn't happen overnight, but also it's not a coincidence that the people with gyms like Jamie's got also talk about the same sort of stuff as each other. It's all the same. It's all the same themes. It's such a good half an hour video, this, mate.
And I
It's
think
awesome.
the other thing is, mate, like people like Jamie as well. If you are struggling and you looked around and you see places like Method thriving, go and spend a day there. He would. I'm not speaking for him, but I'm pretty sure he'd gladly welcome you and show you everything he's doing, because he wants the community as a whole to thrive. He wants the scene in the UK and outside of the UK, I guess, but to expand and get better. And he had all the time in the world for me that day. He'd speak to anybody to help them. And he does that with local gyms in the area. One of the ones that's most local to him, which some would consider a rival, he meets with on a regular basis in the chat. You know what I mean? That's how you get better, by bringing people close and not thinking, oh, well, it's all right for them and I'm a victim and all that shit. Like, if you see someone doing well, people that are doing well generally want to help other people, don't they? Because that's why they're successful. It's because they've got that mentality and that mindset, and somebody probably helped them when they needed it most, and they want to give back. So yeah, pick up the phone, go and drop in, just use those resources that are there.
Yeah. And mate, I know quite a lot of people that will kind of retrospectively watch this are US based, but I think culturally the UK are a little bit behind on that kind of ethos of in it for the we love an underdog story over here, but there's a little bit of a chip on our shoulder when people do well. There's it's because they had this and I didn't. It's because of this. It's because of this. And all we're doing there is just showing our insecurities and the fact that we're not willing to bloody try hard. And it's so refreshing to hear that. And especially in our industry with CrossFit, people work hard for what they want. So you're surrounded by people that are more than willing to help other people because they know they're putting in the effort. And anyway, what we do what other people do does not affect what we do, because we've got such a good service and product and we work hard for it that nothing they do will take away from what we do. We can only help. So, and that's the kind of mindset that all the greatest gym owners that I've spoken to over the past 10 years, they've all had that in common. They're so willing to help other people because it doesn't affect them. It's always the people that are kind of lower down the pecking order that have got that chip on their shoulder. But yeah, it's good. And over the last sort of 6-7 weeks, the more people I speak to and the more people like yourself that I speak to that just want to help, like you saying about you want to help Hannah and the Academy program, it's the way that your mind works. Automatic. I want to help straight away. I want to help, which is lovely to hear. And if we can build up that ethos within everyone, I mean, what better legacy can we have than doing that, which is great. So Steve, you said you filmed over the weekend. Was that as the project, did you say?
Yeah, that's the one. That's where I trained. So it was home from home for me. So that was kind of cool. Really good. I did the class workout and then we did gym sync. You've got Nick on soon, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So we did the gym sync workout as well, and I once again did it with the owner of project, so got filled in again. So, but I love that gym sync is such a cool concept, it's really cool. So I'm sure you'll have a good chat about that. But we did that. Yeah, they housed that at the project over the weekend.
Yeah, no, that's decent, mate. Yeah, I think I saw it on yours. I saw Jim Sync on your show. How long ago did you have him on? Like a few months ago now, or a month ago?
Oh yeah, it was very early on. He was one of the first guests I had. So we started working with them as a sort of a sponsor, unofficial sort of, like, it wasn't like a massive sponsorship deal, but we kind of just did the tees for them, collab the tees and design. But then since then, I think, like, because that's gathering a bit of legs, Nike have come in and pushed us out, but not in not in a negative way. Like me and Nick had the conversation, and we're still going to work with them from a Defiant Print Services point of view. But when someone like Nike comes along that can maybe add a little bit more, go for it. Like, we want you to succeed and push. So so we've still got a good working relationship with them. But I think Nike are going to do some of the prizes and the kit now. So, but that's amazing, isn't it? Just showing that what that's building, that a brand like Nike want to get involved is just is incredible.
It's a good time to want to test your fitness in the UK at the moment. We've got such a diverse type of events springing up. Whether it's Hyrox, whether it's Athex, whether it's Deca, whether it's even like the obstacle runs, Tough Mudder, Gym Sync. You've got all sorts. It doesn't have to be that turn up 4 workouts over the course of a day. One of them's a max lift, one of them's an AMRAP of 12 minutes with a thruster in it and a rig piece. It doesn't always have to be the same sort of style. You can test your fitness if you are a true CrossFitter and you're getting across the board, broad modal development. You can go to any of these events and do it. And what a time to be alive, where you've got places like in instances like Gym Sync that are cropping up. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to Nick and hearing all about kind of how it came around. But when you've got the interest of people like Nike and that, it obviously goes to show they've got something pretty cool on their hands.
The simplicity of it is just amazing. Like, it's it's one of them things. Like, some people are like, I remember when I spoke to Nick, some people are like, well, anyone could do that. Like, well, go and do it then. You know what I mean? We've done it, and we're doing it in a really, really cool way. So I think they're going to do really well with that, and I'm going to do them every single time, because it's just all accessible workout that you can do in the gym. Everyone can get involved. Like Elliot at Project, he put it on after the classes, so the classes remain. If you wanted to stay after and do the Gym Sync workout, you could sign up, and because it's all accessible, whatever level of fitness you're at, adding that little bit of competitive edge to it always makes everyone get involved. So if you looked at the range of fitness, ages and everything that took part in that project yesterday, it covered the entire spectrum, you know what I mean? So it was it's really cool.
And then when is it? The following Tuesday, the 22nd, I've got like a bill on from Ruck Race League. Have you seen this at all?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it coming up, but I've not looked into any of it.
Again, anyone can do that, which is to its credit. Anyone can do it. Anyone can pop on this ruck on their back, but it's really, really interesting. So each of these different kind of workouts will be distinct from each other as a different event. Its load is increasing each round, each lap. You can go out and do it on your own. You get an AMRAP of different things. It's this awesome, and it's a global event where all you need, there's a video somewhere, I'll find it. All you need is a ruck, a towel to wrap on, and you don't even need a specific brand of ruck. You just need a backpack, and you need a way to get weight in there. It's free. You can just do it, and it's this amazing thing where anyone can do it. So there's these events popping up now that are an offshoot of what we do and what we know and have known for a while, that just allow people different ways to test their fitness, which is an amazing feat. And again, coming back to what you said, it's not competition for what we do. It's not on instead of the Open. It's as well as, and it's throughout the year. And it's such an amazing time to be part of CrossFit. So I'm really happy all these people are getting a platform. Right, Steve, I've taken way too much of your time. Sorry about that.
That's all good, mate.
Where are you next?
So next we're up in Blythe, which is near Method for CrossFit SPT. So that's in May. So each one we'll release each episode on the second Monday of the month. So we filmed the project one yesterday, and that'll release on the second Monday of May, which I believe is the 12th. And then we'll do the Blythe one at the end of May. May's mental because we've got some big events each weekend. We've got the Defiant Games, then we're up there the week after the Defiant Games. So I'm really looking forward to May. It's going to be a lot of fitness, a lot of fun, and a lot of community driven events. So it's going to be really good, mate.
Amazing. Well, we'll have to have you on again after May, maybe in June. I am planning on coming to one of your videos, if you'll have me. I'm just trying to, where I live on the arse end of some island in the middle of the Irish Sea, so getting on and off it's a little bit challenging, but I will come to one. So but mate, thanks so much for coming on and sharing that with us. It's awesome. And so it's premiering tomorrow on your YouTube page. Is that right?
Yeah, so it'll be on our YouTube, which is at the Defiant Co. But if you YouTube the Defiant Show, it'll come up. But it's at the Defiant Co. And anyone that's on this or watching that, we'd appreciate the subscribers. We're trying to build that channel. We're up to 181, so we're posting pretty regularly. We've got a new show out tonight, which is me and my business partner. We do a show every 2 weeks where we talk about all the Defiant updates. We're pretty raw. We get stuck into it in a pretty real way. So that premieres every 2 weeks. And then we have a guest every other week. So yeah, anyone that can get stuck in and support us by subscribing, we'd really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, let me just pull that up. Show. That's the jobby. Everyone get over there and follow that, because there's some awesome. This guy here, Hornsey. If you've never experienced him, listen to that one. He's a good dude.
He was the longest one, but the one just there, mate, to the left of Hornsey, Teddy Stringer. So he's an MMA fighter. He's from my hometown, and he just happened to be back here. He's currently training in San Diego, and he happened to be back for a fight in Manchester. So I managed to get him to come and join me. And he's 5-0 in his professional career, looking to get signed up to the UFC, but he's really dominating in Cage Warriors. So the fact that's only got 50 views is sad, because his mentality, his mindset, the way he operates, it's just fascinating to hear. So that's a really good watch as well.
Amazing. Yeah, so everyone get over there and check that out, because I know there's a big UFC follow, and especially with Paddy winning last night or a few hours ago. That'll boost everyone's intrigue.
Well, I said to Teddy to reach out to Savon, because I know he has the MMA crew on, and I told him to reach out to him and see if he'd have him on, because we've been on that time zone and in San Diego, because I know Savon gets the ones on that then ride with him. And
that's a great show. Cool. I'll tell you what, I'll message him in a bit and hook them up. That'd be a great shout, because he does love that game, and to have him around the corner would be awesome.
Yeah,
nice one. All right, Steve, what you got planned for the day?
I am. I'm out for dinner with my family and some close family friends for the last of the birthday celebration. So we're going to go and have some dinner, and then I think I'll get stuck in. I think I'm just going to chill and watch the Masters, see how that unfolds this afternoon.
Nice. Yeah.
Find it pretty relaxed watching golf. Oh yeah, the F1 as well. Yeah, good day of sport, mate.
See if Piastri can do the job today.
Yeah.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you. Steve, stay on for a sec for me. So thanks for joining me, and thanks for watching this. If you are watching it in the future, nothing's changed, I hope. I've got Tuesday, I've got Nick from Jim Sincon, really, really special guest for me, because that's going to be amazing to listen to back as well. And then I've got next Sunday, so a week today, got Daniel Chafee on, who's going to talk to me about CrossFit affiliation, and the French Throwdown and CrossFit Louvre. So I'm really looking forward to that. So hopefully you can join me there. Nice one, guys. Thanks for
Definitely
that.
Be tuning in for that, mate. Great guest.
Yeah, that'll be fun.